No, it's unbelievable to me that he would be vilified as much as he is in the academic community, particularly of South Africa, and as a result becoming a better, more efficient human being and less prone to type 2 diabetes.
And if you are profoundly insulin resistant like I am, and maybe have a diagnosis of diabetes, and if you are profoundly insulin resistant like I am,
welcome back to Avoiding the Fad Diet Trap, and in order to do that, you have to look at the evidence. So today, we're going to look at some clips of Mark Sisson, author of The Primal Blueprint and the Keto Reset Diet, talking about Professor Tim Noakes, famous South African low-carb promoter. And the reason I want to show you these clips is to contrast the narrative being crafted in the low-carb community about the type of results that you'll get, as opposed to the reality of the type of results that the people who promote these diets and live this lifestyle are actually getting. So if you're a fan of this kind of content, make sure to hit subscribe. This is Red Pill Vegan, and let's get right into it.
And yet it's all there. It's sometimes it's almost like no matter how well you put it to people or how thick the science is, they just, until someone like a Noakes, for example, who, right. I mean, when you write a book that is like
700 pages.
Yeah, 700 pages in the lore of running.
Yeah.
Who finally comes around all these years later and goes, oh, I was wrong.
No, it's unbelievable to me that he would be vilified as much as he is in the academic community, particularly of South Africa. No, it's unbelievable to me that he would be vilified as much as he is in the academic community, particularly of South Africa, where here's a guy who basically made his life's work the sparing of glycogen, and how do you manipulate carbohydrates to increase the amount of glycogen you store, and then how do you spare that during long races. He was the go-to guy, anything to do with carbohydrate, glucose, glycogen, and did this for 30 years. He's one of my heroes for having done that. He became a bigger hero for having looked at the research and the evidence and be willing to go, all right, my entire career I was telling you to do one thing. I realize now that was wrong. I'm going to tell you to do something almost the exact opposite and start restricting those carbohydrates a little bit and learn how to become good at burning fat, and as a result becoming a better athlete, and as a result becoming a better, more efficient human being and less prone to type 2 diabetes. I mean, the guy is, that's the perfect application of science. When a guy who's a man of science sees the evidence and reverses his position.
Let's look at just one example of the criticism Tim Noakes has received that Mark Sisson thinks is so unprecedented. Back in the day, before the whole low-carb baby scandal, when he was employed at the University of Cape Town, Tim Noakes' colleagues at the university published an open letter where they voiced concerns that the low-carb diet he was promoting, as if it were a revolution, may result in increased risk of heart disease, diabetes, kidney problems, constipation, and certain cancers. They said it was a serious concern that he was making outrageous, unproven claims about disease prevention and maligning the integrity and credibility of peers who criticized his diet for being evidence deficient. This letter was signed by the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, the head of the Department of Medicine, and the head of the Division of Human Nutrition at the same university where he was employed. Now, let's look at some of the reality of the lifestyle that Tim Noakes is maintaining as a result of the dietary preferences which he has attempted to justify by scientific means.
the key to this approach is each of us vary in our insulin resistance. And if you are profoundly insulin resistant like I am, and maybe have a diagnosis of diabetes, when you take carbohydrate, you cannot metabolize it normally. And people have to understand that however insulin resistant or insulin sensitive you are, there's only so many grams of carbohydrate you can eat each day. If you're like me, 25 grams of carbohydrate is all you may eat a day. That's it. If you're more insulin sensitive, it might be 100, it might be 150.
Wait a minute, so Tim Noakes describes himself as extremely insulin resistant, and he's diabetic? Is he a type 1 diabetic? Because I thought this low-carb diet was supposed to...
And as a result, becoming a better, more efficient human being and less prone to type 2 diabetes.
So ask yourself, does the diet he recommends improve insulin resistance? Or is he avoiding healthy whole plant foods and maintaining an extreme level of insulin resistance in an effort to maintain his existing food preferences. Let's take a look.
You've got to get the grams of carbohydrate down below your threshold. And for me, it's 25. And to go up to 100, I would just put on weight and get progressively sicker. Now 100, let's see, what is 25 grams of carbohydrate? It's one apple. One apple.
It's as if Tim Noakes believes insulin resistance is static, and once you have diabetes, you're stuck that way, so you have to avoid healthy carbohydrate-containing foods like apples. Stay with me, because there's an option that might be better for your overall long-term health that doesn't involve drastically cutting carbohydrates down to some arbitrary level. It's called a whole plant food-based diet. In this recently published 2018 clinical trial, people eating a plant-based diet saw significant improvements in beta cell function and insulin sensitivity. And oddly enough, there's no department heads publishing open letters criticizing this research team's approach for being evidence deficient. Now, the people in this study did not have diabetes, but they were overweight. If you have type 2 diabetes, Dr. Neil Bernard has a plant-based program for reversing type 2 diabetes. Here on this channel, the goal is to help y'all avoid making fad diet mistakes. It's about learning how to realize when people are trying to sell you on the sizzle, but all you end up with is the steak. Results matter, but you don't want to adopt the blind spots of people who are living with chronic health conditions as they attempt to cut out an entire macronutrient just so they can maintain food preferences that don't have a proven track record for promoting long-term health. If you want to avoid the fad diet trap and learn more about how the public is being misled on health topics like diabetes, make sure to hit subscribe, keep it locked right here at Red Pill Vegan, give this video a thumbs up, and share this with anyone you think might benefit from the clarity.